What's up, Ultra Buddies? It is Omega deck time. This is my setup. We'll talk about the deck. We'll go through it, explain the cards, why we play them, the game plan of the deck, which I think is pretty straightforward. A little random, but pretty straightforward. And then some of the cards that I think you can change. Huge disclaimer: I think the Omega deck is mostly up to player preference. The way that this deck is set up is how I like to play it, what I feel flows well, and is not necessarily what you might think flows well or what works well for you. So this is how I like to play it. I think there are a lot of options, a lot of different variations that you can play, and we'll talk about that towards the end of the video, as well as like changes and different cards that I chose not to play and things like that. So Omega got huge upgrades in BP05, namely Valgeness and the level 4, mostly Valgeness, let's be realistic. So Valgeness is, when it is played as a double, you can, if you have a triple or a quad, not level 3 or 4, triple or quad, very important, Omega, then you can give the battle opponent of any of your Medio Kaiju or Omega BP grade decrease. So now you have a BP grade increase from Rekiness and a decrease from Valgeness. This deck goes insane. So the level 4 is a quad. When it enters play, you can put a level 5 or 6 kaiju, Medio Kaiju, level 5 and a level 6 Medio Kaiju from your discard to your hand. So it can really set you up for future turns. Very strong for that. And then everything else is pretty much, we've had it before, but we'll go through it just for those that are unfamiliar. There are 2 level 3s. This is the key card in the deck. I suggest you mulligan for it because it's insane. Even if you play it as a 2/3, it's insane. So it's a double or triple activate. Reveal the top 4 cards of your deck. You can reveal, you choose one of your level 5 or 6 kaiju from among them, and you can activate the on-play effect. So if you reveal Trigon, you get the effect. If you reveal Vaginus, you get the effect. If you reveal Rekiness, you get the effect. Rekiness Armor is played as a double or triple. You can return 1 kaiju with type Medio from your discard to the top of the deck and give this character plus 1000. So these two work really well together because Rekiness can put Valgeness or Rekiness on top of your deck, and then this Omega will mill it to get the effect. Or you can use this to set up your draws for next turn. There's a lot of ways you can play these. So now that you know what this effect does and why it's so good, we need to go back over here to the kaiju so you understand what effects you can get off. We've already been through Valgeness, which is a BP grade decrease. Rekiness is a BP grade increase for any of your Omega or Medio. There's no kind of restrictions on this one. It's just a single or double. You give a BP grade increase anywhere you want it. Very, very strong. And then Trigon is our searcher buddy. So it's a single or double if you have an Omega. Very important if you have an Omega. You can reveal the top 3 cards of your deck to put 1 Omega or 1 Kaiju with type Medio from among them into your hand and send the rest to discard. So this fills your discard up and it helps you kind of get the rest of your deck. The rest of the cards are pretty straightforward for level 1s. We have the draw level 1s, 6 level 1s total. You can play whatever you want here really, but I'm playing the new one because it's shiny. Then you have a Scene Searcher Omega, get your scenes, pretty good. You have the starter deck Omega that discards 4 to get plus 1000. The plus 1000 is not important. It's the discard 4 when you play it as a double, because you fill your discard so you can set up Rekiness plays or Valgeness Armor plays. And then you have this Rekiness Armor. So in the videos that you saw, I was playing this level 2 Rekiness, or this level 2 Omega. I don't think, we'll talk about this slot a little bit. I will be switching to this one in the future, and I'll explain when we get to like kind of the thought process behind things. But there's a few options you can play in that slot. So I think this is the one that I'll move to. Anyway, we've got our scenes, 3 and 3 scenes. So here comes an alien. This is a really important card for the consistency of the deck. It's a round 2 scene, and when it enters play, maybe we can use it nice and close to you so you can read them. The glare is a little odd, but I do like that. I get this promo art. If you have an Omega, you can reveal the top 5 cards of your deck. You put 1 Kaiju with Medio from among them into your hand and discard the rest. So fill a discard, get whatever you want, and keep going. So it really helps you kind of get out of your stuck hands. And then this is our game winner card, Alien Scholar and I. We got the lovely IU art, actress art. So it's a round 3 scene. And once per turn, if you have an Omega, you discard 3. And then after you've seen what you discard, you give one of your Omega or your Medio Kaiju plus 2000 for each Kaiju card sent. It's important that timing of it, because you can send 3 and then you might see 1 kaiju or 2 kaiju or 3 kaiju, and that might change where you pick to put the power. I thought for a while that you had to pick and then mill, but you actually get to see the mill first, which is kind of crazy. So that is the deck. The general game plan of the deck, honestly, is to just play this guy. You play this guy and you mill cards, and then you win. I don't know what that was played. Ideally, you play it as a triple so that your Valgus activates, but it's totally fine to play as a double. You play as a double, you start playing as many double kaiju as you can, like turn 2. Turn 1, you're trying to set up Omega. Turn 2, you probably play Trigon to get draws, extra draws. Whether you play a single or double, it's fine. And then turn 3, and after that, you're just trying to play power moves. Maybe try to get seen for this. You're playing Valgus doubles. You're playing Reckoness by itself. You're just trying to go power, 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 and then your opponent will eventually crumble. The Valgus armor is not very good. I'll just be completely honest. The main purpose of this card is to fix your hands where you don't build a triple in lane 1, because you don't have Valgus. Then later in the game, hopefully you are playing a 2-3 Reckoness armor, and then you upgrade it to Valgus, and boom, there's your 2-3-4 triple, so Valgus is online. Honestly, this is the main purpose of this card in the deck. I would not normally play this as a quad, because this is the star of our deck, and we did never ever want to cover him up like this. You can in desperate times, but having this ability active is usually much more valuable than having a 20,000. Let's talk about the big question marks in the room, which is those who protect. The scene is the new round 4 scene from BP05. This card is not in the deck because I find that you don't always get the doubles consistently, and it's a little too late. Like, I'd rather have a round 3 scene that comes online earlier and could potentially win the game earlier than this one that's going to win. I mean, if this goes online, you probably win no matter what. But sometimes you're going to finally get it online, and you're going to have like a really awkward hand where you played a single Trigon in lane 2, and then you kind of stalled out the game with Reckoness to finally get lead, and you actually don't have any doubles, and it's useless. So I don't really like it. But if you're playing the mirror match, it's great for the mirror match. The big one though is the new triple rare from set 5, Trigon armor. What this does is, as a triple, you can reveal a level 6 from your discard area and level it up on top of a 5. So the reason I don't like this one is because, one, it's a 17,000, which is not very safe. So you can't build this in lane 1 these days and feel like comfortable. Most decks are going to play an 18,000 in lane 1, and then you're just losing this for sure. So not only is it feels a little weak on the 17,000 power side. Of course, you're gonna try to replace it, level it up with Valgus armor, but that doesn't always happen. And then you specifically have to have a level 5 in your hand, and you also have the exact copy of level 6 in your discard, and it has to be a triple. So it's very hard. Like, the most of the times that I would use this card when I was trying it out is I would build this guy as a triple in lane 1, and then I would build a second triple in lane 2 with this one. That's like probably how I would end up playing it. If I do it again, maybe I'll do a 2-3 Omega in lane 1, and then build up to and then do like a 1-2 and then a 3 here on turn 3. That feels pretty good to me. So I think there's some playstyle changes that you could do to make this work. It's not necessarily a bad card. I just don't like it because I had an idea of how Omega plays from last set, and this is just like the updated version of that. But you need a lot going to get this to work, and that's why I'm a little iffy about it. You can tell the deck is built for flexibility. All the level 3s work on 2-3s, and like this works on single or double. This works on single or double. It's all about trying to be as flexible as possible. Then, for kaijus, there's some people, this is just like, that's what I said, preference. It's all about preference. There's some people that I'm seeing doing really well in Japan. They are not playing any level 5 Trigrons. They're playing level 5 Reckonesses. Great. Like, if that works for them, that's great. But I really like playing the Trigron ones, because my theory is, Valgus, you have to play the 5s. You have to play the level 5s for Valgenus because it only works as a double. If you want the effective Valgenus when you play it on the field, you need the level 5s, right? It's this is like non-negotiable, I think. For Trigon versus Reckonus, I'm pretty happy playing a Reckonus by itself because it can always boost itself to 13. It's like not too unreasonable to play it like that. So I'm fine playing it as a single or as a double. But then Trigon, I'm honestly not that happy playing it as a double, as a single. Like, yeah, I can play it as a single in lane 2. It's a 9,000. It'll be okay. But the power of like level 2s these days, like there's so many ways to get level 2s that are not 9,000 into your hand. And so even if your opponent plays like a level 1 draw, then the next turn they can just level it up to like something that has like 11,000 power, and then they're suddenly, oh, they're winning that lane forever now. Granted, you can flip it with your effects, but I just don't like to be in that spot. I'd much rather play Trigon as a double. And then it's a 13,000 and I get my search. I feel better playing Trigon as a double than as a single. And for Reckonus, I don't really care. So that's why the Trigon's there. That's my theory on it. And then I guess the nitty-gritty part of it is there's some cards that I would really like to try to fit in, but I just can't. One is like level 6s, so they're like 10,000, 16,000. Trigon has one now, Valgenus has one, Reckonus has one. I used to play these in the last meta. I don't think they're as good anymore, but they were for the mirror match. Because if I play mine as a 16,000, then it just like always wins, right? Like it's just always beating your opponent's like media kaiju that it paired up against. But now the problem is it's not, because they can just decrease it. Before you could only boost it, so at worst case you just tie. Now you can decrease it so it dies. If you line it up against a Valgenus can be great increases 17, so then you die. So I think it's not worth really playing these anymore, and there's not enough space. But I kind of like these, so you keep thinking about it. And then the last card I wanted to talk about is this level 2. I think you need to play this one for discarding. I think, and I was telling one of our friends earlier, was helping him practice Omega. I think you should always mill. I don't think you should ever not mill, because the more you mill, the more you get to understand about your deck, and the more options you have for Reckonus armor, the more options you have for Valgenus armor, and you just get chances to just like RNG cheese wins, basically, where like, oh, I just hit a Trigon because for funsies, you know. I think it just gives you more options. You should always just mill. Like, there's sometimes maybe you don't want to mill, but like especially towards the later part of the game. But the early part of the game, you are trying to get as much information as you can. You're trying to get as many cards as you can. There's no reason to not try to get more cards. Anyway, so I think that's why you have to play this. You just have to discard cards, especially if you're playing Trigon armor. You can't afford not to discard cards in the early game. You just have to. You just have to, because you have to build your discard. Anyway, so this level 2, this is like really nitty gritty. Just play whatever like you think looks cool for the most part. So the reason why, so I was playing this one, which I think is reasonable. This is like the in between for me. It's 11,000 power when I play as a double, which is decent for fighting for a lead. It can go up to 30. It has a triple power, so it can BB grade up it with a Reckonus activation. And yeah, the power type I don't really care. That the effect that boosts it for power type I don't really care about. So the other option which I'm going to switch to is this one, which has it's swapped out a little bit of the power, right? It's a 10,000 here, not very good for like fighting for lead or whatever, but it's 14,000 here. So this is actually really important for the mirror match, because if you play this as a 1-2 late game, you can always boost it to 14 to start beating kaiju doubles. So that is the reason for that. That's why I'm going to move to this one, because I greatly dislike Omega mirror matches, and I want to get every little advantage I can get. When last meta it was playing that, this meta is probably playing this. Theoretically, it's playing this, but I think it's too slow. Like, I think if you're playing for this one and you just play this one, you probably win anyway. Anyway, and the last one I think you could play is the 12,000. The 12,000, I think this one would be more for like maybe Tika Blazar, who can sometimes play 12,000s in lane 2. So you could do a lane 2, 1-2, make a 12,000. And if you have lead, they can't take it back, which is nice. Or you can try to take it to set up Here Comes the Alien, and that matters. But for me, I want that 14,000 power now, so that's what I'm going to do. I am want to play this card. I think this card is like theoretically really good, but it ends up being awkward. So I would like to play some versions. I don't know where I put it, but there was a version I saw for Trigoron armor that I thought was pretty interesting. It played like 10 level 2 3s, like 3 of this, 3 of the other one. Didn't play a lot of scenes, I think, because it just couldn't afford to. You need room for all the level 5s. You need room for to build triples. You need to play like 8 level 1s, at least 10 level 2s. I think usually like 8, 10, 10, and then try to fill up the rest with kaiju so you can activate the effect. So I thought that was like not a bad idea. I think that thinking of the path where you play this as a 2-3 on turn 1, and just start milling like crazy, and then build up to this Trigon in the next lane. That's actually not that bad of a game plan. So something to think about, food for thought. But this is my deck. This is how I like it. Let me know if you try it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.